But sometimes it's not bad due diligence. Sometimes it's just bad luck. I'd be avoiding properties with trees. Things like if you're near power lines, your insurance premiums can go up. Things that don't come up in your building and pest, or that you might not be told by the real estate agent because it's not in their interest to disclose it.
Here's another tip I would really get the listeners to do before purchasing a property. Jump on insurance website or give them a call. They do thorough due diligence themselves.
There are some neighbours that seem to think that if they've had that fence standing there for a particular length of time, that the land that they've benefited from the use of suddenly becomes theirs.
That's right, yeah.
That is not true.
Yep.
So when you purchase a property, it does cost $1,000 or so, but get a survey done to ensure that your boundaries are correctly marked, because the last thing you want is a legal dispute with a neighbour over the fence location, especially if you're wanting to develop and you need full use of that land.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Dragan Dimovski, your host, and as always, the lovely Amanda Calabria. How are you, Amanda?
Hi, thanks for having me again.
Amanda, what are we discussing today?
We are discussing a topic that I'm hoping brings out some nice meaty stories for us.
Okay.
We are talking about the hidden costs of property investing done wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's a bit of a, I suppose, big title for what I wanted to discuss, but we spend so much time banging on about due diligence and talking about do your checks and make sure you don't buy lemons and make sure you think about the property. But sometimes it's not bad due diligence. Sometimes it's just bad luck.
Yep.
And sometimes things happen that we can't prepare for or that we can't predict. So today's podcast is about looking at some of the hidden costs that can emerge, some from due diligence, yes, but some just from bad luck. So I've got a few ideas that I want to talk about. I'm hoping that between us we've got some stories for them. Not that I'm hoping that we've had some costs come up that have turned good investments into lemons, but as with all investing, sometimes, the hand of fate lands on your property and you've got to deal with it.
It does happen. I mean, it's the cost of,
Cost
being
of doing
investors.
business.
Yeah, that's right.
And as much as you can plan out the perfect trajectory, life happens, nature happens, natural disasters happen, things happen to tenants, things happen.
Yeah, they do. So, okay, I think it's also a good idea we'll finish off the podcast with having a little bit of a checklist on what, first-time investors maybe should know when purchasing a property.
For sure, because you want to mitigate as much risk as you can out the gate. It's all good and well to say things happen, but a lot of things can be prevented.
For sure.
So absolutely we need to talk about, well, what can you control and how should that inform your decision making?
Okay.
But I love some good stories, so
right.
I want to start with some stories.
Go for it. Amanda, please.
Okay. The first, I suppose, trap that leads to bad luck is when we look for confirmation bias, right? Mm-hmm. So we get a good idea in our head and then we start searching for confirmation that the idea is a good idea. Mm-hmm. And the one that comes up quite often is investing in units because cash flow wise on paper, they look good, right?
Yeah.
They're cheaper to buy. They have maybe a higher rental income or yield that looks good. And it's very easy for many buyers agents or many real estate agents to say to an investor, hey, check out the return on this. It's really good. Mm. But with units, there are a lot of extra or hidden costs. Yes, you might know your strata levies up front, but things like special levies can undo an investor.
Yep.
Do you want to tell us what special levies are?
You go for it. Come on, man. You're on a roll.
I didn't want the whole podcast to be my voice.
No.
Come on. Chatterbox,
come on.
as my daughter says. She's 7 and she's a chatterbox as well. Okay, so strata special levies are those unexpected levies in addition to the regular ones. So it might be that, I don't know, the building needs some sort of upgrade or something unexpected has come up that's not covered by the building's insurance, so the owners have to pitch in for the cost of whatever it is that needs doing.
And you'd have the sinking fund and...
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So it's when basically, you get hit up for more money and you've got to pay it as an owner. It's not optional. Mm-hmm. It's not something that you have control over. So you're not the one, sourcing quotes and determining the price or the scope of work or the quality of work or the tradie that does the work. You're kind of at the mercy of the strata manager and what they've organised, and you've just got to pay your share of it. They come with notice, so you know that they're coming. But the issue you then have is that it reduces the value of the property because that notice then appears in the minutes of the AGM. And then if someone were to purchase your property, what do they do as part of their due diligence? They buy a strata report, they access those minutes, they see those special levies coming up. They don't want to pay top dollar for that property anymore. So special levies don't just come out of your pocket, they also reduce the value of the asset. And I've been stung by this.
So have I. And you know the story.
You know my story too. Whose one should we tell?
Well, I'll start.
Who's going to throw themselves under this bus?
Yeah, it's one of those, for anyone that's listened to the podcast before, it's one of those apartments. It was the new apartment that I purchased in Leichhardt.
You got done with special levies on a brand new build?
No, I sold it prior to.
But still on a brand new, what was it, building defects?
Yeah, but a year later, the builder went bust. You know that story.
Did he rebirth under a new name?
Yeah, well, we then later found out that he's done that a few times. So anyway, but it was a situation where one of the neighbours at the back, they call it concrete cancer. And water was getting through the concrete into the apartments, but it was happening from the back. So everyone had to chip in. There was not enough in the sinking fund for some reason. Actually, I'll get you to explain what a sinking fund is later. But anyway, everyone had to fork out was it 15 or 25K? I can't remember. This was quite a while ago. But yeah, so even
though extra cash out of pocket, though.
That's right.
Post-tax dollars.
Yep. And even though it doesn't affect my side of the unit, everyone has to chip in. It was about $15,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember now.
And that's it. Everyone has to chip in.
Everyone.
Not directly impacted.
Exactly. So luckily, I was selling that apartment and it just happened just in time that I could
nip out.
Yeah. But funny enough, the checks were never done back then. I mean, I'm sure they,
The strata reports?
The strata reports, yeah.
Well, we see now why they are.
Yeah, of course.
And interesting you mentioned sinking funds because the laws have changed on sinking funds as well. So for those that aren't aware, sinking funds is basically just the funds available to the building for repairs and your strata manager is supposed to take care of all of that. Again, I'm not a property manager or a strata manager, so take what I say with a grain of salt. But to the best of my understanding, laws have changed now that there is a minimum float required to be kept.
Yes.
I don't know what it is, and I don't know if it's relative to. I mean, I don't invest in units anymore, so I'm out of touch with the laws on them because I don't touch them anymore. Once bitten, twice shy. But there are some protections in place. Same with insurances now. Strata insurance is through the roof because they try to push more expenses onto the insurer. So expenses in general in purchasing a strata titled property is quite risky.
Yeah. Also, let's get into the growth of apartments, especially when you're buying new.
Yeah.
You're buying at a premium. And I've actually got one example I might actually share. We'll probably pause this and share it. I'll share the address if anyone wants to look. I was looking at an apartment in Glebe.
Recently?
Yesterday.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know this. So you guys are getting this the same time I am.
Well, yeah. Well, the apartment, so it was built in 2017. It was purchased for 2.1 million, a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom.
Brand new at the time?
Brand new at the time. Okay. And it was a Hong Kong investor that purchased 4 apartments in that same complex. Right. It's near the park, right?
That's what people do. They buy a few, so on completion, they sell some to pay off the one they keep.
Yeah, that's the plan.
It used to work back in the day.
It used to work, yeah. But anyway, so now he's happy to get 1.8.
Oh,
7.
He's got 4 of them.
He's got 4 of them.
Oh, that's more than $1 million hit.
That's in total, yeah.
Wow.
But not. I don't think all of them are 3-bedders. I think there's a variety of them.
Right.
So that's a perfect example. And on top of that,
he won't be paying capital gains tax for a while with those carryover losses.
It's crazy. But also on top of that, you've got $12,000 on strata alone.
Per unit.
And then there was, of course, council rates and water. It was adding up to probably about $13,000 a year on top.
That developer got a premium. if they've depreciated that much already.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you think about depreciation, people get their 2.5% back per year. He's lost a lot more than that.
Lost a lot, yeah.
A lot more than.
And these are the mistakes I've done when I started first investing over 20 years ago.
Because they're easily marketed. Units are a cheaper entry, so you can trick all the young ones.
But I've got another story. It's actually from believe it or not, my mentor's son.
Okay. Tell us.
So I always speak about my mentor.
Yeah.
And I won't mention names because I haven't asked his permission yet. So he called me up and says, "Oh, so my son, won't mention the name, is looking at a particular apartment. He loves it. The returns are great, apparently. I had a look at it a few years ago. I've mentioned to him that it's not the best investment, but he's okay for his son to make a mistake because it's such a small entry." Now, I'll tell you exactly, again, it's in Glebe. Now, do you know the old Grace Brothers building?
Vaguely. I'm not a city dweller.
Okay.
I grew up outside.
Yeah, okay. So at the moment where you have I think it's Westfield's Ultimo, right across the street, there's a massive block. It's heritage and it's converted to student accommodation. So all international students are in there renting. Now, the marketing looks fabulous. 16% rental yield.
16%?
16%.
How? Because it's student.
Because of student accommodation. So you can
even
buy.
Still, 16.
But wait.
Wait, there's more.
So you're going to buy, and the entry is they've got some for 180,000 right up to about 300,000 purchase price. Okay, so they're studio apartments.
Okay, so first of all, there's no lending on these because they're studios.
Well, yeah.
Issue number one.
That's issue number one. But I did my research and I knew it. And I remember also, I had a chat with an agent. He wasn't selling it, but he mentioned something. So I did all the research. So there was 580 apartments there.
580. Well, there's your supply issue.
Okay. And
oversupply.
Today there's probably about, I think, 20 or 25 available for sale. Okay. Now,
that's only 5%, but 5% of 500 is
it's massive. But my mentor's son, I mean, he's in his 20s.
Yeah.
And, he obviously has some, knowledge about, percentages in investing through his dad. But he's seen it and said, oh, wow, 15, 16% return. That's fantastic. When you actually sit down and actually do the calculations, 50%, more than 50% is actually going to all the outgoings.
So they've given the gross figure.
Well, that's the gross figure. When you actually do the net figure, it's quite big. So literally, I think it was 55% of
gets eaten up. Yeah, that's heavy.
Yeah,
and your resale value, like you said, based on the volume, there's always going to be a flooded market there.
But here's the thing:
even if 1% are on the market, that's still 5 of them.
But they were selling the same price because obviously using tools like RP data as agents do, they were selling the same price 10 years ago.
But they have to, because if there's 5 or 6 on the market at any given time, why would a buyer pay more for that one when they can get that one for less?
That's right. That's right.
You've got no control over prices because there's too many of them.
Yep. And how long until you actually get someone renting it?
And all you need is 1 or 2 desperate sellers to sell at a discount, then everyone has to, because that's the comp. That's the comparable.
Yeah.
No, you don't touch anything with... my rule, if ever I touch a unit, no more than 12 in the unit block.
Yep.
Because you want to be able to control prices at resale.
Yep. And try to look at things like, lifts, pools, gyms, saunas. You don't want any of that.
Because you're paying the strata for someone else to benefit when the rent's probably the same.
Exactly.
All these hidden costs people think of.
Definitely.
Should we move on to the next one? Because I feel like we've battered units a bit.
All right, yes.
Let's move on to the hidden costs with houses, because I think a lot of investors go, well, if I avoid units, I'm safe.
Yeah.
But that's not always the case either. Sometimes houses can...
And please, everyone, we're not scaring you away from investing.
No, we're being real about it, though. I mean, you can't just expect all rainbows and butterflies and make me rich. You can't just buy a property today and expect to be rich tomorrow. It's not how it works.
Yep, exactly.
And if we were selling too good to be true, you guys would all call us out anyway. So let's give you the truth.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay.
The next one is, again, it's a due diligence one, but it's one of those ones that people might not think of or put too much weight on, right? Because they rely on the building and pest inspection.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one, it's probably one because I've been bitten by it before that I put more weight on than maybe other investors do, because until you get bitten by something, you might not put that weight on it. So when people get their building and pests, they're looking at the building condition, they're looking at, all those things, defects or age, wear and tear, etc. One thing that I always say to people is you want to think about future plumbing issues or electrical issues, things that can be quite costly to repair. So I always say even things like if there's a massive tree in the backyard, trees have roots get into plumbing, that gets expensive. So getting tongue-tied, an unexpected cost that comes up is when you buy a 20, 30, 40-year-old house because you want to add future potential to it, but it's got that nice big gum tree in the back that eats the plumbing. So things like that, I'd be avoiding properties with trees. Things like if you're near power lines, your insurance premiums can go up.
That's right.
Lenders might not lend on things like that. Just, again, things that don't come up in your building and pest, or that you might not be told by the real estate agent because it's not in their interest to disclose it. Have you been bitten by anything like that? Or are your houses generally pretty safe?
Look, they're pretty safe. I mean, I do have a story where a property was purchased, the building and pest inspection was done, okay, but obviously they found traces of termites through the wall. Now, this is something that a building and pest inspector cannot see behind.
Oh, you mean after the gyprock?
After the gyprock was ripped down from a renovation.
Oh, well then, it's a building site again then.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it. That was there anything else?
I've had the tree roots in the plumbing.
Uh-huh.
I have had one where it was a blessing in disguise. It had a tree in the backyard, but it was far enough away so it didn't bother me. But the tree actually came down during a storm.
Oh, you were telling me, yes.
Yeah. So the property manager rings me. She's like, it's a couple of grand to have this big behemoth of a tree removed. And I just went, great. And she's going, why are you saying that? I go, 2 or 3 grand. I wanted that thing removed so I could knock down and rebuild a bigger house on the lot.
Yeah.
Nature took care of it for me. I will pay whatever it costs to have the carcass removed. So sometimes hidden costs can be a blessing.
Yeah.
But in the moment, without notice, I mean, in that case, I think it was 2 or 3 grand to have the tree removed, but you've got 0 minutes notice.
Yep.
These people are living with a tree in their backyard. You have to cough up and pay it that day.
Yep.
So unexpected costs if you don't have that money ready to go.
Well, look, here's another tip I would really get the listeners to do before purchasing a property. Jump on insurance website or give them a call. They do thorough due diligence themselves. So, and obviously they have a history with past clients as well. I would get a quote from an insurance company. And now I'm speaking by experience as of today or yesterday. I've actually purchasing a property myself, which, and I've actually jumped on one insurance with Amy, and it came out at 4.5 grand insurance. And now I'm questioning why.
Yeah, what's wrong with the property?
What's wrong with the property? So I'm yet to jump on the phone, and I'll probably in the next episode discuss what
that's
the story.
That's good little due diligence shortcuts, because insurers aren't leaving any stones unturned.
No, they don't. So I'm wondering why. Could it be because they see it as a 7-bedroom home because it is a double story with legal height downstairs? Do they see it as a dual occupancy already? Being that way because there's 2 kitchens,
maybe
upstairs, downstairs, 2 bathrooms, upstairs, downstairs. So, possibly that. But until, you do a thorough check, you won't know, but it's a giveaway. It's something that you can actually do straight away.
Oh, it tells you there's something to look for.
Exactly.
Actually, on that note, I've not been bitten myself because I didn't ultimately make the purchase, but unregistered easements are another one. And I didn't know they were even a thing until I came across one.
Okay.
So you can obviously, when you receive the contract of sale, look at the DP and you see whatever easements are there. And you always, check with Dole before you dig just to make sure, there's nothing there. But what I didn't know was that there is such a thing as unregistered easements. And the way I came across it was I was looking at purchasing a property And I was reading the contract and in their special conditions, and I'd never seen it before, but they had a special condition that you could see had been added on, right? Because most solicitors have their standard special conditions form that they just slap into every contract.
Yep.
So I always look for what's been added on for that specific property. And this specific property had a clause about not being responsible for unregistered easements, or you can't, seek compensation for unregistered easements. And I'm going, that's a funny one.
Mm-hmm.
So I contacted my conveyancer and I said to him, what's this about? Since when do easements not have to be registered? Now, this is me repeating his advice. So this is not legal advice. And if he was here, he'd say this far more accurately than me. But to the best of my understanding, it was that if back in the day, if you had an agreement with a neighbour, for example, a right-of-way access or whatever agreement you had, you would have between yourselves an agreement, which is the easement, which you should register with the local council.
Yep.
But either they didn't register it, or the agreement still stands, but it was never formalised, or the council never processed it and it was pre-computer, so it never got digitised.
Yep.
So this easement exists but got lost.
Yep.
Now, in this case with the property I was looking at, it was a right-of-way easement because it was the corner. I was looking at the corner lot, but the next one up from the corner, they had an agreement where he could use the neighbour's side gate from the side street to access his backyard to park his truck.
Yep.
So they had a right-of-way easement between themselves that never got registered, and they were protecting it in the contract. So if I were to then purchase that property, my tenants in that property would have to allow the next door neighbour to use the side street to get his truck in and out of his backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, I'm not even going to go, not even going to go there, not going to touch it. But yeah, you got to be really careful. If that clause wasn't in there and I had purchased, gone unconditional and settled, I would have found out about this easement after the fact. Gone, what's this about?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've got to be really careful. I mean, and I said to my conveyancer at the time, I said, how do you find out? Like, how do you protect yourself? If that was never disclosed in the contract and I'm just seeing tyre tracks thinking nothing of it, he's just driving in his own backyard.
Mm-hmm.
How do you go, oh, what's this,
Yeah.
There's no, and he said to me, he goes, I don't think there is a way to find an unregistered easement. You just hope it's forgotten or hope the neighbours that agreed to it have both sold and moved on or nothing you can do.
Wow.
That one scares me.
Yeah, it should. It should.
Yeah.
I think another thing that people should be wary about is things that aren't certified, like a granny flat, extensions, even just your
bowlers are a common one.
Exactly, or carports, for second parking. So this is something you can really get burnt. And what I mean by that, you could be, you find a place, it's great price, great rental yield because it's a house with a granny flat at the back.
Yeah.
And then later you could find, and I've heard stories, council comes knocking on your door and they say, hey,
Where's
that's right. And you don't have it. And, they can come and say, hey, if it's not, registered by a certain period of time, you got to knock it down.
You've got to be really careful there too with lending because if there's no OC there, then you don't get the finance.
Yeah.
So
some would.
Well, I was about to say.
Yeah, some would.
There was a property that went to auction on my parents' street. My parents live on acreage. So houses, granny flats, sheds, outhouses, like all sorts of things on these acreages. And this one that went to auction on mum and dad's street, it had a brand new beautiful house built on it, but they had retained the old farmhouse and left it on the acreage. Now, as part of their DA conditions or whatever, they were meant to demolish the old house once the new house had been built, but they decided not to demolish it and then just knock it, the OC, not complete the development because they wanted to rent out the old house. So when they sold it, they disclosed in the contract that that's what they had done and whoever purchases the property needs to ensure that whoever finances it is aware that there's an unapproved dwelling essentially on the property.
Yep.
Now, the agent was marketing it as if it doesn't sell, then they'll knock it down and put it back on the market in 6 months.
Sure.
But they're going to try the market and see how they go.
Yep.
It went to auction and it sold to a cash buyer who got it for a good price but discounted enough to make it a good deal for him, but not so much that they would pull it off the market to knock it down. And to this day, that little house is still sitting there as a rental. And that auction, I was still in high school because I remember in high school going, oh, I've learned something new.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And how did they find insuring it?
To be honest, I don't know because I was in high school and I stopped asking questions.
Yep.
But I every time I drive to mum and dad's house and I see that little hut, it's a little hut, but like the little house still sitting there, I'm like, they haven't been told to knock it over yet. But there's a few of those in the area because people sort of know, or they'll get around it by building a breezeway between the old house and the new house. It becomes one roof line, one dwelling.
Yep.
There are ways around it.
Yeah. And look, it also depends on the area, the councils,
It's a good way to get a deal too.
Yeah,
if something's not approved.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
And you can find a lender or find finance some other creative way.
Yep.
Good way to get a cheaper deal.
For sure. Okay, what else? What else?
Oh, I love these. These are good stories. Let me see. Yeah, go.
Okay, so for anyone also, I think, looking at purchasing a property, as we've spoken in the past for other podcasts about my favorite type of investments are, houses with potential that you can subdivide or build another house or a granny flat.
Yep.
I've heard stories that people that they think it's, a larger block, 1,000 square meter block, that they can actually throw a granny flat or another house and get it subdivided. I know in recent areas, recent council has done a change within the Ipswich Council, and I focus a lot over there for my clients and myself, where the actual minimum lot size to get a subdivision went only recently from 1,000 to 1,200.
Oh, they increased it.
But I'm still getting people that are potential clients that say, "Yeah, I know you look at Ipswich area. I found a place that I'm looking at. If I don't purchase this, I'll come and sign up with your service." And they're like, "Yeah, this." And I said, "Okay, share the address. I can at least give you some advice even beforehand." And it comes back as 1,000 square meters. And I said, "Have you actually done your research recently? Because the council has changed it from 1,000 to 1,200.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh," and it's things like that.
Yeah.
You assume because you're looking at next door, they have done it.
That's right. That you
3 years ago, and they have a house. They also have a property that's 1,000 square meters, and they've got 2 dwellings on it that's subdivided. Doesn't mean that the council's going to approve yours as well.
That's right.
So it's always recommended to do your own due diligence, but, pick up the phone with a local town planner and ask them the question, "Hey, I'm planning to do this." They will give you free advice, obviously to a certain extent.
Well, a town planner maybe, but if you call the duty planner at the
duty planner, that's right.
Yeah, the duty planner is free.
Yeah. I would highly recommend that. So,
and the same goes in reverse too, because Hornsby Council here in Sydney has just increased their allowances for dual occupancies. They were previously very against it. Hornsby is a bit notorious for being anti-development. Now they've opened the floodgates and gone, all right, dual occupancies. I think they want another, don't quote me, I think it's 5,500 new dwellings.
Or they have to.
So they've blown open so anyone sitting on 800 or 900 square metres now, their property prices are going to go up because people are going to start land banking for dual occupancies down the track.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing as well, I would get people to check, and this is probably going a little bit further, but check what DAs around you have already been approved, because a DA lasts for 5 years. So one of your neighbours could be sitting on something that you don't want next door to your property. It could be something like a childcare centre, or it could be a high rise or something, whatever you don't want next to you that that the neighbours sold up to get away from, and then you've inherited their problem by purchasing that property.
Yeah.
Another one, and this one depends on the council. So this one's a trap, for example, in the Hills Council in Sydney. They have minimum developable lot sizes in R2 and in R3 and R4 zones. So if people are land banking, if developers are buying 2 or 3 neighbouring lots to meet the minimum, say for example they need 1,200 or 1,800 square metres to develop. So for example, I'll use Hills Council as the example. You need 1,800 square metres to develop R3 zoned land, which means you might need to buy 2 neighbouring lots that are 900 square metres each. So just say you've got developers that are land banking, they've got 2 lots of 900 here, a house in the middle, and then another developer has the next 2 houses to make their 1,800. Those developers are set. They've got their minimum lot size, but it's sandwiched in a single lot in the middle that will never meet the minimum lot size.
Yeah.
So someone will try to sell that at a premium developer rate price. Some fool will buy it thinking, I'll sell to a developer later, when really it's actually worthless because both neighbours are already land banked. You'll never meet the minimum lot size for development. So a lot of inexperienced investors go, oh, this is zoned for medium or high density.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy it and, it'll make more money for me later. Without me even developing it, I'll offload it.
Yep.
But it's worthless.
Yeah. Okay.
So just knowing what's around you and who owns what.
Yep.
I always jump on RP data and check the street, see if I see the same owner too many times.
Yeah.
I think, I don't want to get sandwiched or, just be really careful. Or what are they planning to do with that many lots? I don't want to get stuck next to whatever they're doing.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, so what about contacting a local property manager to ask them the questions?
Yeah.
I mean, I always, that's always a good thing, especially when you're going into a new suburb.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's good to know what the renter profile is for an area, if it's families, if it's singles, if it's travellers. Because if it's transient tenants like students and singles that aren't likely to be there long term, then you've got to start factoring in things like tenant turnover in your cash flow.
Yeah.
Every week that property is empty is every week without income.
Yep.
So I tend to target areas, and I mean, you might think differently. Every investor has their own strategy, but I try to target areas where I can buy nice 4-bedroom family homes on big land, big backyards, not just for what you like to do for future development, which I love doing, but also so that until I choose to develop the property, I'm attracting families. Because families have kids and pets, and a lot of landlords have a real issue with kids and pets. I don't know why, because they stay put.
They do.
They pay every week and they stay put.
Yep.
And, often they're committed to the local school. If they need to keep their school zoning, they're less likely to move.
Yep.
If the pets and the kids are happy and, they're going to stay there. And, okay, a dog digs up the backyard, but you know what? That property is not vacant for 2 or 3 weeks a year. They're there for 10 years.
Yeah.
Rip up that yard all your life, champ, it's yours. You know what I mean? Like, I think some investors lose sight of the forest because they focus on the trees. You know what I mean? Is that the saying?
I've never heard.
I don't know. In the forest, I should know it. I was an English teacher. Sometimes I mix my metaphors.
That's okay.
That I feel like a lot of investors fixate on the bad thing, which is often smaller than the benefit of the big thing.
Yep.
So if I see a tenant application and they've got kids and dogs and they're hard, they're going to find it hard to find another landlord that will accept them. I'll take them. They'll stay.
I've got a new one that popped up. Well, not in. It's not new, but finding out from the I'll start that again. Finding out from the agent who's selling the property.
Yeah.
When the actual rent was updated. Okay, because you might think that, hey, as soon as you buy the property, you can up the rent to what the market is. But if it's there, that
it's not within the time.
It's not. Well, you know what? You have, and I see this all the time with properties. I find that just before they put that property on the market, they've signed a 1-year agreement with those tenants to look after the tenants at an under market value rental. So where that property's
not allowed to evict either.
Well, you're not allowed to evict, and you're not allowed to. And you have to hold it for that next 11 months. So and I know there's a lot of investors that maybe have buddied up or they've known the renters. So they've locked them into a $500 per week rental when you can get $650. Yeah. Because that's what the market
They've done a bit
is.
of a deal, whether it's to entice the tenant to keep the house looking good for open homes or...
Exactly. Yeah. So that's another one to just, a quick phone call to the selling agent just to find out.
Yeah.
And before signing the contract, of course, get the contract and the rental agreement reviewed. Which should, that's right.
But make sure you look at it.
Definitely. Get that
Make sure it's the most recent one.
Before pen to paper.
Yeah, and your solicitor and your conveyancer should be all over that. If they're not all over that, get a new one.
Yep, 100%. We already covered insurance, didn't we?
We covered calling the insurer pre-purchase, but
yes.
Post-purchase, shop around for insurance as well.
100%.
And don't skimp on it in terms of coverage because, like we said, there's a lot of unexpected stuff that can come up and you want to make sure you're covered.
Yep, sure.
Have you ever made an insurance claim on an investment property?
A couple of times.
Yeah?
But through the years, yeah.
Yeah?
I mean, that's just standard stuff. Nothing, no real story to it.
We had one where I don't know if it should have come up on the building and pest, but it was covered by insurance anyway because it was brought to light during a storm. We had to replace the entire roof of a property.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was an older property, so I'd say it was probably at the end of its life that this storm just ravaged it and then the whole house just got pummeled with water.
Wow. Okay.
And it was a house that I wanted to knock down and rebuild. And then I'm like, if it's getting a new roof, it's staying there. I'm going to delay the development. Because the people are like, oh, take the cash from the insurer and then knock down the house anyway. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure they'll notice that when I go to reinsure the same address and there's a different dwelling on it.
Yeah.
So we fixed the roof. We did it all above board and it's still standing. I never got to do my knockdown.
Oh, that's it. That's it.
So we delayed it just to this is where I really struggle to like move on from sunk costs.
Yeah, yeah.
And you could argue that's a hidden cost of poor investing, not accepting that money spent.
Well, actually, I can mention one many, many years ago when I first started buying, I should say first looking into the dual type of living scenario. I did a mistake. I still got the property.
Yeah.
And that is not checking that what I mentioned before that I'm doing now, that downstairs is a legal height. Because my idea is, okay, my first ever wanted to make a dual living property was thinking, I'm looking at the photos, I'm viewing the property. It's got a lounge, it's got a bathroom, it's got a little kitchenette downstairs, the whole thing. I'm thinking, great, I can get 2 rentals.
Yeah.
And then coming into it, purchasing the property, then talking to a property manager.
Oh, you did the due diligence after the purchase?
Well, it was only through the property manager because I thought I knew everything.
Of course you did.
And then realizing, oh, sorry, we won't take that on because it's not legal height. It was actually legal height on 40% of the side. There was a slope, but then because it wasn't
fully,
it's unfortunately that's what happened. But how we marketed that, I had again finding a good property manager was finding a creative type of a property manager who advertised as say they increased the rent by $150 from the market. But what they said was upstairs, or you can, have your family downstairs, whatever.
So they take it on as one tenancy but pay more.
Exactly. That was back then as well.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can't get away with now because the internet and access to information, you can't hide. There's nowhere to hide, which is a good thing because it protects everyone.
It's a good thing, yeah.
But it also means you still have people trying to get away with these things.
Yeah.
So when you purchase a property where someone's tried to get away with things, you don't want to inherit, like you said, unapproved extensions or alterations.
Yeah.
You don't want to inherit, problems with the neighbours. Oh, that's the story I was going to say. Problems with the neighbours. Yeah, well, we had a pause, guys, in the podcast because I had a story and then I forgot it. So another one is when you purchase Torrens titled properties in Australia, you are obviously the legal owner of that title, right? According to the DP, which is in the contract. So the boundaries of that property are known and set in stone, regardless of where the boundary fence is located. Now, there seems to be this swirling rumour of, I think a Current Affair or 60 Minutes did something on it a while ago and it became a thing and everyone talked about it and then misunderstood it. Squatters' rights. So people had this view that if I'm occupying a space that I never purchased for a particular length of time, then I become the legal owner of that property. Okay. Now, when it comes to Torrens titling, that is not the case. There's no such thing as squatters' rights because unless someone, there's 2 sides to this. If someone fraudulently sells the property out from under you, the sale is valid because if the purchaser was unaware of that, I'm getting into legal space here, but I'm talking about boundary fences. So the only exception is if the property is sold out from under you without your knowledge and the purchase is final and whatever, that's a different issue. Talk to your solicitor about that because that's the only exception to this. But I'm talking from people thinking that they have squatters' rights.
Yep.
So if your boundary fence is in the wrong spot, say it's half a metre out to your neighbour's advantage, there are some neighbours that seem to think that if they've had that fence standing there for a particular length of time, that the land that they've benefited from the use of suddenly becomes theirs.
Theirs, right, yeah.
That is not true.
Yep.
So when you purchase a property, it does cost, $1,000 or so, but get a survey done to ensure that your boundaries are correctly marked. because the last thing you want is a legal dispute with a neighbour over the fence location, especially if you're wanting to develop and you need full use of that land. Because if the fence is in the wrong spot and your plans propose building right up to the boundary and then you got to knock over the fence to reach the boundary, you got issues with a neighbour. So always sort out that sort of thing early. We had an issue with a neighbour on an owner-occupier where it was an acreage property and we're talking metres. The fence was out by a matter of metres and next door was benefiting massively from the use of our land, and it became this big humongous thing because the fence had been there for years and they had always had use of that land, never realising, claiming to have never realised that they never owned that land.
Wow.
So these
imagine finding that out.
Well, we found out as soon as we moved in because I got a survey done.
Yeah.
So the first time this lady met me was, hey, you've got some of our land.
Wow. And imagine they actually concreted and spent money on all that.
Well, this is acreage, so it's 5 metres of bushland.
But I'm saying if it wasn't.
On residential lots, yeah. Well, we had another one, actually, glad you mentioned it, where we bought a lot where the previous owner had stuffed up. He had owned both lots and then we bought one of them off him. So because he owned both of them, he just treated them as the one until he was ready to sell. But he put the fence in the wrong spot and then concreted his driveway based on where he'd put the fence. And we're like, you clown, that's our land. So we ended up doing a boundary realignment because we weren't going to make him rip up his driveway.
Yeah.
So we just did a boundary realignment because within 10%, it's just a CDC, quick, easy certifier done.
Okay.
But yeah, in that case, that was an easy fix and, everyone was all happy. But yeah, it happens. It's really common. And like you said, if the fence is in the wrong spot and people are putting money into landscaping and so on based on where the fence is rather than where the boundary is, and you're the disadvantaged party, you've either then got to cop the loss or negotiate with your neighbour to purchase that land and then do a boundary realignment, which, if you don't know what you're doing, can be tricky to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tricky.
There you go.
In our case, we were lucky. You just sell the land back to them.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So many things to think of.
Many, many things.
The odds of any of these landing on you are very low, right? The reason we've got so many stories is because we purchase in volume, right? Yeah. But for the average everyday investor, like Dragan said at the beginning, we're not here trying to freak you out. These things might land on 1 in 1,000 transactions.
Yeah.
So the odds of them landing on you are very low.
Yep.
But it does happen, and you've got to be able to think on your feet, figure out what to do, find the right mentors, get advice, and deal with it. Get
professionals on your side. Always say that. Get a mentor or something like us.
And everything can be dealt with, right? Nothing's a death sentence or nothing's going to bury you. You just got to know how to deal with it. So as much as we had all of these stories today, they're from volume, not because property is a bad investment.
Exactly, Amanda. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to run through a little checklist. Yes?
Great, yeah.
All right. Did you want to or did you want me to do that?
You're the boss. Go for it.
Hey. Checking vacancy rates, rental yields. That's a
true rental yield.
Yes.
Because we talked about how some can look prettier on paper than in real life.
Yep, definitely. So get that checked out. Tenant's profile.
Yes.
The people who are actually renting. If you're purchasing a property, you want to know who's renting from you.
Yes.
Ask for a history of the rental report.
Yep.
Because there you will see, have they been paying on time? Have they missed any rentals?
Are they keeping their properties in good nick?
Yep.
We've got one tenant, and every time I get sent the photos from their inspections, I have like an inferiority complex because they keep the place immaculate. And they've got kids. They've got just as many kids as I do, same ages.
Yep.
But their house, the way they keep it is immaculate. And they're the tenants and I'm the owner-occupier in my house.
Yep.
And I think, God, if a property manager came through my house, it's like an obstacle course compared to the way. And every time I look at Stephen and I look at the photos, Stephen's like, what's your excuse? Look at this. This is immaculate. And I'm thinking, these guys need a discount. They're ideal tenants.
That's good.
Yeah.
Inspect property condition, roof structure, plumbing, electricals. Obviously, you can get a plumber, a builder, a licensed.
How far do you go? That's it. Age of the property would probably make that a necessity.
Yeah. I mean, we've booked. I know for some clients, they wanted to know what the electricals because they've been burnt in the past.
Yeah.
These are savvy investors that we help them find properties, and we get plumbers to do a pressure test. We get Sparkies to get in there to actually check the electricals.
Yep.
There's a certain point they can check, obviously, but it gives them, a little confidence that things aren't going to, spark out of whack as soon as they buy the place.
Yeah.
Arrange a building and pest inspection. We spoke about that. Confirm council approvals on structures and renovations. We forgot to mention the renovations. Additional bathrooms. Are they approved? Things like that. We have, check the zoning subdivision development potential. Review the strata and body corporates as, for townhouse
see if there's any
units.
special levies.
Exactly.
And not just current, but upcoming.
Yep, exactly. Have your solicitor or conveyancer review the contracts. We mentioned that.
Oh, you'd be mad not to do that one.
Yep. Negotiate terms and settlement. Well, I guess we can throw that one in there. Organize landlord and building insurance before settlement.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to be insured from the moment you settle, so organise it prior.
Now, in Queensland, though, it's different. You actually have to, as soon as both parties sign the contract, you actually, as the purchaser, have to insure the property. All states are a little bit different, but that's a main one just to mention.
Yeah.
Okay. What else is there? Yeah, and contact the property manager prior to signing the contract and get as much information from the property manager who's getting the place rented out, if it is rented already, and additional one outside of from them, because you might get two different stories.
Definitely.
Two different
always verify.
Two different data. So that's it. Unless there's anything else, Amanda.
I think as long as you're doing the main due diligence checks, anything else is just a matter of dealing with it if and when it happens. And that, as we always say, treat your property portfolio like a business. And just like with any business, you get some wins, you get some losses, you get some expenses. You also get some, nice little wins like that tree that fell over on that knockdown reba. So it's all a matter of luck, and you can only mitigate against bad luck to a point. If it happens, you deal with it.
Exactly. And guys, if you don't want to do it yourselves, you can always reach out to us at Buyers Agency Australia. Yeah, we'll do it all for you. So, so you can reach out to the link below or just go to, I keep forgetting.
Property Session.
propertysession.com.au/15. That's the number 15. And as I said before, there's a link below. You can contact us. Happy to jump on a 15-minute discovery session, answer any questions you may have. And Amanda, thank you very much for today.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.
Love the stories.
And we'll see you all next time.
See you next time. Thank you.